Come on in, honey. The lantern's lit, the veil's a little thin, and the wind's been dying to carry a few secrets your way. Welcome to Raven's Ramblings, where the shadows walk beside us and the past never stays buried, and a good spell can speak louder than a sermon. I'm Raven Nightingale, part healer, part hellraiser, keeper of the old ways and ghost stories alike. So pull up a chair and listen close. You never know what might be whispering in the dark. All right. We are trying something a little bit new this time. So welcome back, my spell weavers, shadow dancers, and seekers of the unknown. You are listening to Raven's Ramblings, where tonight, I guess, we are going to dive into something a little bit different, something kind of unpredictable. Magic is a practice that kind of throws out the rule book and tells you pretty much, boldly that the belief itself is the ultimate spell. And I personally adhere to this. My magic is super, super chaotic most days. So grab you a candle or a journal or whatever makes you feel magical, because we're going to embrace some chaos today. So chaos magic is a lot of times spelled with a K to kind of distinguish, and I'm getting tangled up in my wires already. It's a lot of times spelled with a K to kind of distinguish it from like stage magic and that kind of stuff. But it's not about disorder and randomness. It's about flexibility. Okay. Personal power is huge in chaos magic. So where traditional magical systems have very rigid and set correspondences and rituals and long-standing traditions, chaos magic kind of says, you know what, use what works and release what doesn't. That's fairly simple. Use what works for you. And that is something that I stress, or I try to stress in every episode. If it's not working for you, find what does. There's nothing wrong with that. So at its core, chaos magic is a belief-centered system. Practitioners have that belief that the belief itself is a tool. We have a lot of different tools in the craft, cauldrons and athames and candles, and we have all these things, but sometimes we forget about the belief itself or the intention. You don't have to have all those physical tools. The belief and the intention is where that true magic, to me, in my craft anyway, that's where the true magic really is. That's where it all comes from. The other things are just physical tools to use. So it's the belief as a tool is something you can use and kind of set aside as needed. But for me in my magic, that is 100% the most important thing, the belief. Now, with chaos magic, you can work with deities one day, you can work with sigils the next day. Some people work with pop culture archetypes the day after that. And it's about the results of those things. It's not about the dogma, it's not about following a very specific and rigid tradition. It's about a very personal magic to me. You take what you will with it. I mean, that's part of chaos magic. If this does not resonate with you, fast forward, go to another one. It's not a big deal. Okay. This is just what I have in my personal life that I wanted to share. And that's part of my chaos. So, back to my notes, since I've rambled on here. Chaos magic emerged really in the 1970s and 80s. It was, and this is all the history of this, so take with that what you will. It was largely influenced by the writings of Peter J. Carroll and Ray Sherwin, who were founders of the Illuminates of Thanatos. That the Thanateros. Y'all know I can't pronounce shit. Y'all just roll with me. So, drawing from their what they knew of ceremonial magic, shamanism, psychology, and even like modern science, they kind of created a system that rejected hierarchy and that rigid tradition. They instead focused more on the psychological model of magic, that rituals work because they shape belief, and belief shapes reality. Now, in my mind, that comes as not just belief, but that energy, because that's really what I personally see myself shaping when I practice my craft. Everything is part of energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be manipulated. And that's kind of how I see my magic. So the core principles, this is, like I said, loose, because once again, we're kind of going away from a lot of strict, rigid rules. But the core principles of chaos magic are broken down to a couple of key ideas. Number one, belief is a tool. It is. It is a tool to use. You can adopt or abandon any belief if it serves your magical goal. Period. And I personally see that in my magic, because I do talk to Norse gods, I do talk to Egyptian gods, I do, or goddesses usually. Norse gods are more my thing, and then almost everybody else is goddesses. It's very strange. I don't know why my brain sees it that way, but so if it works for you, you can take those little pieces from the different belief systems and create your own, basically. That's what I do. Anyway. Number two, nothing is true, everything is permitted. And this was a phrase borrowed from Hassan Sabad, meaning that reality is malleable and it is personal. All right? And that's extremely true in my world and a lot of people's worlds. All right? If it's the whole if it harms none, do what you will kind of thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Uh, where was it? Oh, our number third, y'all. Mm, Number three. Focus on the results. So, unlike some magical systems that prioritize the tradition of what you should be doing or what you have to do, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't like people telling me what I have to do. I'm gonna do shit my way. That's because if I don't do it my way, it's not gonna work for me. That's just the way it is in my world anyway. So, focus on whether something works for you. If everyone says that rosemary has to be used for this particular thing, and that doesn't seem to work for you, but it works for banishing or whatever some oddball thing, then do that. All right? Chaos magic cares about whether it works for you in your life. That's the important part, because we are focused on the results. All right? So if you go into some areas of more traditional magic, they are going to have very strict guidelines on what you can and can't do in a ritual. If you're expected to have a chalice, but you don't have a chalice, you're not gonna, they think that your magic's not gonna work. It's not gonna be have results to it. So chaos magic doesn't really work that way. You use what is available to you and make it work. All right. Number four, Use of symbols and archetypes. So anything, what this really means anyway, anything can become a magical tool, whether that be gods or fictional characters or logos or memes, or if you can use those things as a what I would call a focal point to focus your magic, focus your belief, then do it. It's not it's not hurting anything, and if it works for you and helps you to focus your magical brain, that's what matters. Period. Number 5, personal genos. So direct experience trumps tradition 100% of the time. Your inner intuition and inner knowledge is what matters the most. Period. Now, I personally have a lot of herbs and stuff that I use in my magic. I tend to be more intuitive about what I pick to go in different spells. Now, I also, when I do that, I have my intention in mind of what I'm trying to create or what I'm trying to achieve with specific spells. I go to my herb shelf, I look at it, I feel the vibrations, I feel what feels right to me, I pull those herbs and I usually line them up. And then, because I question myself, I shouldn't after this long, but I still do. I will get my herbal book and bring it out and look up each of those herbs and see what their traditional correspondences are. Just to see, just for shits and giggles, right? And 99% of the time, those herbs that I chose instinctually or with my intuition are exactly what would have lined up traditionally by correspondence with what I'm trying to achieve. So trust yourself. Learn to trust. I'm still learning to trust myself. It's, you know, do what I say, not what I do kind of thing. I'm still working on my shit. You work on yours. We'll get through this together. Okay. uh, Now, let me see if I can find where I was in my notes. Mm. So, okay, here we go. Beginning with chaos magic. So, if you're kind of curious about it, there's a simple path. And y'all, those of y'all watching my YouTube can see me. I keep using quotation marks path because some of these words sound very set in stone and they're not. They're really not. These are just basic guidelines to go, hey, if you're interested, maybe peek over here. If that's not working, maybe peek over there. That's all this is. And remember, I am just a lowly human who has been doing it my way for years, and my way may not work for you. Your way is probably not going to work for me because my way is wackadoo sometimes, and that's okay. You do what works for you, I'll do what works for me, and sometimes our stuff is going to overlap. Hopefully, though, you can take some of the things that I say and it can point you in a direction that you may or may not have thought about before, you know, and just see. So, simple path to beginning with chaos magic. Study and question. That's something that I still do even after all these years. I still look at different books and look online and still, read about different magical systems and I question everything. And honestly, that's why I walked away from the Christian church when I was younger because I don't know if y'all know this. A lot of them tend to frown on things being questioned. So that didn't work for me. This encourages that. It encourages people to question things and to find what resonates with them. And once again, if it doesn't resonate with you, throw it to the side. You don't need that part. Cool? Cool. Number 2, experiment. Try those things. When I first started using herbal stuff, I had just a very few little packages of herbs, probably some that I got from the grocery store because We don't have a metaphysical shop here where I live because I live in the Bible Belt, and no, not around here. We're not having none of that. So I had to try different things when it came to my herbal stuff. And now I have a broad range of things from sycamore shavings. I have that. And those particular shavings are for bindings and healing. I have witch balls, of course, gumballs. I have a gumball tree in my backyard, and I have crap tons of those stupid things. My wife hates it when she mows and they fly everywhere. I have things like urchin spines. Those are good for a little prickly spell. You know what my strangest ingredient that I have on my herbal ingredient shelf? Gallstones. hmm My gallstones. I had my gallbladder taken out last year, and I asked my surgeon, I was like, hey, I would love to take some of those home. And he let me. He put it in a little specimen cup, and I brought home a lot of my gallstones, and I have not used them yet, but it's coming. I feel like there's some bitches that might need to be put in jars that might need a little gallstone thrown in there for some baneful magic, and that's okay. And if that's not what resonates with you, you don't have to do that. That's just my weirdness. So so with that experimenting, do try everything. Try to write a sigil. Try to create just a small ritual, something super simple to, just try it. If it works, fabulous. If it doesn't, push that to the side and try something else. Okay. Now, with that experimentation, keep a magical journal. All right. That is super important. Write these things down. Record what works, what doesn't. Record how you felt about it, all that kind of stuff. Had a little moment there. Had to take a little break. All right. Where was I? Oh, keeping a magical journal. Write all those things down, because you're not going to remember that shit the next time it comes around that you want to do this full moon ritual. You're not going to remember it. And I'm horrible about this because I do so many different things intuitively, so I pick and choose and then forgot what I've done. And now it's going to get loud. All right, so after a brief pause for the coughing fit of my life and the AC and stuff kicking on, I'm back. Where was I? Keeping a magical journal. So you want to write down what works, what doesn't, what you thought about it, what you felt, all that good stuff. That's super, super important. And yeah, that I should, practice what I preach on that, because I hardly ever write shit down, and then I forget, and then the next time I have to do the same type of spell, then I have to come up with it all over again. And it may be a little bit different. So it may work a little bit differently than it did the first time. And that's okay. But if I would just write shit down like I tell other people to do, then I could just break out my book of shadows and bring that up and do it the same way again. One day I will get my life together. I promise. I think. Anyway, it's not the point. Where was I? Oh, number 4 on beginning with chaos magic, detach from the outcome. So chaos magic thrives on letting go after your work is done. So once you've done your spell crafting, you've gotten your candles, your herbs, whatever, you've done your thing. Now walk away from it and let the energy be. It will take care of itself. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Just let it be. All right. And that's a hard one sometimes. And That that was a lesson that took me a little bit longer to learn because I'm like, well, is it going to work? Is it going to do this? When is it going to happen? And finally, I got to the point to where I would do my spell work and then could let it go. And then, however long later, sometimes the next day, sometimes a week or two, something would happen, and I would be like, oh, I guess that's kicking in now. Fabulous. So detach from that outcome. When it happens, then you can kind of reflect on what you did and go, oh, well, that's what that is. And that's awesome, but try not to focus strictly on that. Okay. Number 5 on this little list, stay playful. This kind of a path encourages creativity, not rigidity. Okay. Try different things. Be silly with it. If saying your spell in the tone of an Oompa Loompa song works, honey, do it. Do it. It's not hurting anything. Do it. Be creative. Let those creative juices and that intuition just flow. All right? Don't be afraid of it. It's going to be great. You're going to be great at this. Well, some of you, the OCD is going to kick in and you're going to be like, I can't do that. And that's okay. You do what works for you. If the chaos does not work for you, honey, do something else. All right? For me, for my ADHD, the chaos, perfect. Love it. So some y'all, my brain. Some misconceptions and cautions. There we go. So some think that chaos magic is just doing whatever you want without any kind of consequences. And that's not necessarily true. You can do whatever you want, but there can still be consequences. It still follows the principle of cause and effect. You know, in Wicca, the thing is, everything is going to come back on you times 3. If you put out bad, it's going to come back to you times 3. I personally don't follow that because I don't follow the true tradition of Wicca. But karma's a thing. So whatever you put out there, there is still that possibility of karmic backlash. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're using protection circles and things like that, and setting yourself up to understand what could come back on you. Because there's always going to be cause and effect. No matter how much fun the chaos is, there's still that chance of the effect coming back towards you. So you always have to be prepared for things like that. Now, if you're putting out nothing but good, then hopefully nothing but good is coming back at you. Some of us function in the more gray areas. Y'all have heard me talk since the beginning about sometimes bitches need to be put in jars. And if I've gotten to the point to where I'm putting somebody in a jar or practicing some type of baneful magic, I have been pushed to that point and am prepared for any karmic backlash. I also do extra protections and stuff before I practice that type of magic to protect against those things. But I also my baneful magic can go a little bit different sometimes. Like if I want someone to go away, I may push blessings in a new direction for them. You know. So it's a little more of a gray area, that kind of stuff. So just be aware that even with chaos magic, there's still the principle of cause and effect. Okay? And just because you can use any belief from any pantheon or practice or whatever, doesn't mean every action is wise. Okay, so just do your research, look into the different archetypes and that kind of stuff, and just be aware of what all the connections are. Okay, now responsibility is still key. I mean, we are all responsible for ourselves. No one else can take responsibility for us. We cannot take responsibility for others. Re- Practice responsibly. That's super simple. You know, you are shaping a reality after all. So just keep those kinds of things in mind. Okay? And keep in mind too, and this one gets a little bit woo-wooey in the psychological part of it, because chaos magic can kind of challenge deeply held beliefs in people. It can be more psychologically intense. Okay, because when we step into the chaos, or when I personally, I can only speak for myself. When I step into the chaos, I have to remember to try to remain grounded, because if not, then sometimes that chaos can put me in more of a manic state. All right. And if I get into a manic state, then I got to find my ass all over again. And I try really hard to keep a hold of my ass and keep my shit grounded. So just be aware. It can be a little psychologically intense. So be prepared for that. If you have any mental illness or anything, just be wary that it can accentuate those things. All right? It's not necessarily a bad thing. You just may have to learn different coping mechanisms, or more coping mechanisms. All right? No big deal. All right, where was I? Section 7 of my notes: Chaos Magic in Modern Witchcraft. So today's chaos magic has seeped into kind of everything from online witchcraft communities to pop culture stuff. Um, Different things like using memes and viral images and symbols. All of those things have roots in chaos practices. And think about the things you see online, and it is truly chaotic because it is a constant barrage of things, and they're all different directions and all different genres and all those things. So chaos, the world is just chaos, honestly. So many witches now blend their chaos techniques with more traditional systems, creating more of a hybrid to make things a little bit more personal. And I feel like mine leans more toward that than, I guess, what a lot of practitioners would consider a true chaos magic witch kind of thing, because I do still look into those traditional systems, but then just kind of put my own chaotic twist on it, right? And that's totally okay, because that's for my magic. That's what works for me. It may not work for you. You know, you may thrive in the more traditional craft, and that's amazing. I do not have that attention span. I just don't. I wish I did. I wish I did. Heavens. So, embracing the chaos. What is the takeaway from chaos magic? So, chaos magic is not about worship. My dog. Hey, stop that. Chaos magic isn't about worshiping the chaos. All right, you're not putting that chaos up on a pedestal to, not that. No, no. It's about dancing and moving and integrating with it. All right, everything is fluid, everything is in movement. It just is. It's not about worshiping the chaos. It's not about living in the chaos like that. It's about making that chaos work for you and dancing with it and integrating it into you. It's a reminder that magic doesn't live in dusty books or rigid dogma. It lives in you, in your mind, and in your will. You are the magic. You are the spell. You are the result. You are your most powerful magical tool, is you. Period. Full stop. You are the most powerful thing in your magic. Doesn't matter how many cauldrons you have. It doesn't matter how many herbs you have. It doesn't matter. You are the most powerful thing in your practice. So, after all that rambling and, oh, hey, rambling, look at there. Got to the rambling part, found my chaos, and I know, y'all. Mm. So, thank you for joining me on this wild ride into the heart of chaos magic. If this episode has sparked something in you, maybe a curiosity, maybe a little rebellion, let me know. Drop me a line, drop me a message, drop me a comment on Facebook or YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Send me an email. I have my email up there. It's ravensramblingspodcast@gmail.com. Send me a message. Let me know what you think about it. Share this episode with your fellow witches who love to push boundaries. Because I don't know about y'all, but somebody draws a line in the sand, I'm probably pushing up against it. That's just me, though. So until next time, my beautiful souls, thank you for this. Y'all have no idea how much doing this means to me. I am having an absolute blast doing it. Absolute blast. So thank you for joining me on this trip. I appreciate it. Until next time, stay magical, stay curious, never be afraid to stir the cauldron and shake things up a little bit. Bye.